Greetings and welcome to this edition of
Positronic.
I'm Barry P. Cook. Let's talk about the third episode of season 1 of the book of Boba Fett, creatively titled Chapter 3, just like they did on The Mandalorian. Anyway, it starts off with 8D8 giving us a bit of a history lesson on who took over what in the wake of Jabba's death and how Bib Fortuna managed things. A merchant then comes in and complains to Fett about a gang of cyborgs who are stealing his product while telling him that no one respects him, which, why the hell would you say that? But anyway, Fett goes to look into it and encounters some young thugs who criticize him for allowing the watermonger, the merchant that had approached Fett, to charge too much, and they tell him there's no work, and so he hires them, much to the dismay of the merchant who wanted them punished. So he pays him a little bit, and he complains that it's less than half of what he was owed by the thug, but he says basically, tough luck, and cut your prices. And that if he doesn't like it, he can move to Mos Eisley, which of course he doesn't want to do because, as we all know, as bad as Mos Espa is, Mos Eisley is a
wretched hive of scum and villainy.
We then flash back to Fett riding into Mos Eisley on a bantha to see the Pikes, to collect protection money for the Tuskens, only to be told that they already are paying protection money to another racket, which Fett promises to deal with. He returns back to the Tusken camp to find it destroyed and everyone dead, and he burns the bodies, and it was really sad because he had built a relationship with those people, and like, what the hell? Like, why were they murdered? Not good. Anyway, we go back to the present. He's pulled from his tank by Black Krrsantan, and they fight, at which point the thugs that he hired show up to help him, as do the pig guard guys, to little effect because Black Krrsantan is just a massively strong being. But this is followed by Fennec showing up and tripping the trapdoor in Jabba's palace, sending Black Krrsantan to the dungeon. Later, as Fett considers his response options, the Hutts show up and they gift Fett a rancor as apology for the attempt on his life that just occurred, which they were behind, telling him they're not interested in a war with him or a war with the Syndicate that the mayor has apparently promised Fett's territory to, and that they're leaving Tatooine. At which point, Fett frees Krrsantan and sees to his new pet, which apparently is just a calf, which needs to be trained by Danny Trejo, who is the Rancor trainer, because of course. And Fett says he wants to be shown how to ride it. So that's going to be interesting, because apparently they can be ridden. Fett then goes to see the mayor without an appointment, only to find him gone before his secretary makes a break for it and is chased in his land speeder by Fett's thugs, who for some reason ride color-coded hover bikes that I expected them to combine into a giant robot. Only to find, upon catching up with the assistant, that the mayor has abandoned his office to throw his lot in with the Pikes, who soon begin arriving in what Fennec believes is the first wave of a large force prepping for war. So yeah, some stuff's about to go down. So I think this was a good episode. I'm interested to see what becomes of the situation with the Rancor. I don't think the Hutts saying, we're just going to get out of Dodge is as simple as it seems. I think they're up to something. So we have to wait on that development. I'm a little bit concerned that Boba Fett just said, you could let Krrsantan go. He just lets him go, even though he tried to kill him. And I'm thinking, why? Why does he keep doing this? Why does he keep letting people go? Like, I understand, okay, you're trying to lead by respect, and you're trying not to be like a bloodthirsty, crazy person. But at a certain point, you have to stop being so benevolent, because you're going to be taken advantage of. You have to be willing to get your hands dirty so that you don't come off like a paper tiger. So he goes around and he talks tough. And when he's attacked, he gives as good as he gets. He doesn't like stand down like a pacifist, but then like he just, oh, don't worry about it. I'm not going to kill you for your attempt on my life. And a certain amount of that is wise because you're trying to like, you're investing at that point in someone who maybe will come back and help you out when you need it, as opposed to just ruthlessly killing them and, well, now they can't help you with anything in the future when you need help, because everybody needs allies. So, and he doesn't have any really. So I get it to a certain point, but it's like every time it comes to, well, what are you going to do to this guy for what he did? How are you going to punish him for his insolence? He doesn't. And I don't know if that's because it's a Disney show and they're trying not to go down that road where he's, kills people. I don't know. That's the accusation of some of the people on the internet that I've been talking with about the show. They think that Disney is tying the hands of the writers, and they're concerned that it makes the character too much like a character that isn't Boba Fett. So I don't know. I just hope at some point he kind of kills somebody somewhere. Otherwise, it's not going to be believable. So that's that. Also, one of the cool things that happened in this episode is that as they're running around during the chase scene with the land speeder and the Voltron bikes, there's a painting that shows up in the street that's being walked across the street by these two guys. And it's a painting of like a scene from the early part of Return of the Jedi, where there's Jabba, there's a slave girl that kind of looks like Princess Leia. There's, I think 3PO is in it, or a droid is in it. The only thing that's not there is Luke, which I guess, I don't know, they're going to leave Luke out of it. He wasn't there the whole time, so that makes sense. But yeah, so there's this painting, and I tried to grab a shot of it, so here's what I got. I thought that was cool. But yeah, that's it. So we'll have to see where it goes next week. I'm disappointed that the Tuskens are dead, because I thought that was going to be part of his grand plan, that in the end he was going to have his back up against the wall and they were going to come in and help him out. And it would explain why, again, he invested in them by cozying up to them and joining their ranks instead of, fighting against them. He forged a relationship with them. He became an advocate for them. And I was thinking, well, why is he doing this? Well, because they're going to be a resource for him down the road, but apparently not. So that was kind of a bummer. But anyway, I'll be back with a review of the next episode once it is released. Until then, I wish you all peace and long life.